what it is, where you went from the Home Depot makeshift beach version to what is the product today?
Totally. So I think the best way to think about U-Ball is initially through the lens of spike ball. So similarly, similar to spike ball, U-Ball is a product you can get, but also a sport you can play. So the product is this hoop that you can carry on your back. You can set up at the beach, set up on grass, set up anywhere in a few minutes. And the sport is a grass or sand version of basketball, where the way you play it is there's no dribbling. You get 3 steps, and it's generally played 3-on-3. And the best way to basically to explain the sport of U-Ball is what pickleball is to tennis, U-Ball is to basketball. A sort of a simplified, condensed version of a pre-existing sport that makes it extra fast-paced, extra accessible, and just really applies to now everyone.
Right. Well, you talk about accessible, and I kind of look at that in a variety of ways. Because one of the things that I felt having this product at our camp this summer was that every kid could play. So it's not the normal rules of basketball, right? There's a different set of rules. So can you explain that and why it feels like more inclusive?
Totally. So the biggest kind of difference in the way U-Ball is played versus traditional basketball, aside from just this, it's played on grass or sand versus like a court generally, is the fact that there's no dribbling in 3 steps. The ball, you basically catch it, you take 3 steps, and you either pass it or shoot it. And what it does is it really simplifies the game and makes it where really regardless of your skill level, you're going to be able to fit it in. You're not going to get exposed. Everyone of varying skill levels is going to be able to play together. If you want to do an all boys game, if you want to do a co-ed game, if you want to do a girls game, like it applies to everyone. And by removing the dribbling part, it actually makes it where everyone's kind of on a level playing field, and no one's going to kind of get exposed if their skill level is not at a certain level, basically. Versus when you're playing basketball, it's awesome. I love basketball, but if your ball handling is really bad, like you're going to look bad. And so it's just what ends up happening is you have some kids that love the concept of basketball or things like that. But some kids are like, hey, I'm going to hold off on playing here just because I'm going to look bad. And that guy that has an amazing handle is going to look really good. And I'm going to look kind of uncoordinated. And so what you end up doing is you kind of remove a lot of people that would have been tentative to play, but now can, because it's like, oh, I'm going to fit in just fine. I know I can catch a ball. I know I can take 3 steps, and I know I can pass it to someone. I'm going to look fine. And that's kind of what you saw with why pickleball really took off is tennis is a harder version. It's like if you don't really know what you're doing in tennis, you're going to just miss the ball. Versus in pickleball, it's a much more simplified version of that where you're not going to get exposed. And because of that, it exploded because it applies to everyone now, and everyone can sort of have fun with it versus you have to be kind of an expert to not look bad, sort of thing.
Take a moment to shine.